Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Coding Care. Today I'll discuss one of the concept called caching mechanism. So in my previous video, this is my playlist in microservices. In the last video I have explained this Spring Boot caching. Here I have used the simple caching mechanism. So today I'll discuss how we can integrate the Redis in our application. So here if you will go here in font services controller, I have so many endpoint is there. One create font, get font, and update font, delete font. So in this get font API, I have used the @cacheable annotation, and we have used the cache put and cache evict also when I am deleting the font. And application.properties file, I have used the Spring cache type is simple. So if you do not have watched my video yet, please go through this microservice playlist and watch all this video, especially this one Spring Boot caching tutorial for beginners, so that you can understand why we are using the cache. So today I'll discuss how we can integrate the Redis in our Spring Boot application. Let's get started without delay. So first of all, what we can do in pom.xml file, we can add the dependency for Redis. So go to the Maven central repository, then search for Spring Data Redis. Yeah, Spring Data Redis, this one. Copy this dependency and paste here. Now one more dependency we needed, that is called Redis. So this is a Redis, and this is a Redis client. So this one we need to add, just copy it and paste it here. Now these two dependency we require, one is Redis and one is Spring Data Redis. Now in application.properties file, this spring.cache.types, here we need to mention, instead of simple we'll use the Redis. So here so many option is there, like caffeine cache, generic, hazel cast. So initially I implemented simple cache. Today I'll explain this one, Redis. So we need cache type as Redis. Now before I mention the Redis, first we need to check whether the Redis has installed in our machine or not. So go to terminal and just type Redis server. Yeah, here it says command not found Redis server. That means Redis has not installed on my system. Let me install the Redis first. So go here, and this is the link. I have given this link on description. You can go through here. So I am using Mac OS, then this is the Mac OS. If you are using the Windows, you can go to the Windows, then you can install it. Let me install the Redis first. So this is the command brew install Redis. Yeah, it will install. It will take some time to install. Now Redis has installed. If you want to start that Redis server, just type Redis-server. Redis-server. Yeah, now the Redis server has started. So if you'll see here, my Redis server is started on 6379 port number. So here in properties file, we need to mention on which port number my Redis server has run. So spring dot data dot Redis, then so this is host is localhost, and Spring Data Redis dot port, the port is 6379. Okay, now I have configured which type of cache I required and in which port number the Redis is running. Now I have to configure the Redis Cache Manager. Here in configuration classes, caching configuration, for simple I have created this cache manager. So I am just simply commenting this one. Now I'll create the Redis Cache Manager here. public Redis Cache Manager, Redis Cache Manager, and here I'll pass the Redis connection factory. Okay, so here we need to return the Redis Cache Manager. So here return Redis Cache Manager dot builder. Then I'll pass two things. One is Redis connection factory I'll pass, and second thing I'll pass some Redis configuration. Okay, Redis cache configuration I'll pass. So here in this side builder I'll pass this Redis connection factory object, then dot cache defaults, and I'll pass some default configuration here, then dot build. So before that I'll create the Redis connection factory object. So this is the interface. Redis connection factory is an interface. We need to create the object for client. So Redis connection factory, Redis connection factory. Now we can create or return new Redis connection factory. So Redis connection factory is a client for the Redis. Now it is ready. Now we need to pass only cache defaults. Here I'll create the Redis cache configuration object. So Redis cache configuration dot default cache config. Okay, then here I need to mention first how I'll store the data. Suppose I have this one fund I am storing. Okay, so if the fund is null, shall I store or not? So if the null value will come, I will not store. So I can make this disable caching null values, so that null values will not be stored. Then when I'll store the data, it will serialize. Like I'll store fund object, the fund object will serialize to the JSON, and the JSON will store. So I need to mention the serialization. So we have method called serialization, serialize value with. Inside here we can pass Redis serialization context dot serialization pair. Yeah, then dot this one from serializer, and here we need to pass the type of the class. So I am passing new Jackson to JSON serializer, and we need to pass the fund dot class. That's it. Now it will return a Redis now it will return a Redis cache configuration. Now this serialization value, or this is Redis cache configuration, this will pass here. Okay, so make it as bin. Now my properties file is ready and the configuration file also ready. The server already started. Let's run the application. But before running the application, first we need to run the service registry. Service registry. Now, yeah, it run. Then config server. Yeah. Now fund service. Yeah, now it started. Now go to the postman, get the fund, send the request. Yeah, now came, it's 157 millisecond time taken. Now 24 millisecond. That means it is coming from caching. So here first time I send the request, the select query executed, and second time I send the request, it is not executed. If I'll send the request again, only the method is called, but select query not executed. So that means it's coming from the cache. But how we can ensure the data is stored inside cache or not? To check in Redis, we can do one thing. We can run the Redis CLI. So go to here in cell, new tab with profile basic. Okay, here some command is there, so we can just type Redis hyphen CLI. Yeah, now CLI came. Now I just wanted to check whether our data is stored or not. This fund data having fund ID 51 has stored or not. How we can check? Just type keys star. Yeah. So keys star means it will print all the keys inside this database. So by default 16 database is there. If you check how many database is there inside Redis, you can use this command like config space get, okay, databases, enter. Why databases? Yeah, databases 16. That means total 16 database is there. But our data in which resides in which database, whether it's database 1 or 2 or 3, how to know? Then we can use one command info key space, just enter. Here if you see db0 means this is database 0, and key 6, total 6 key is available. Okay, average TTL expire 0, average TTL 0. I'll explain what is TTL later, how we can configure also, but now the data, our data is storing inside database 0. Now fund 51 has stored. Okay, but I want to store the data inside database 1. So this is database 0. How to go to inside the database 1? So you can use select 1, hit enter. Now here 1 means this is database 1. So if I'll use the key is a star, then hit enter, this is an empty array because inside this database no key is found. But if I'll go to database 0, how to go to database 0? Select 0. Now keys star, it will print all the keys. So by default our data is going inside this database 0, right? Now how I can send my data to database 1? So here we need to mention in properties file, we need to mention one property called spring data redis dot database is 1. That means when I'll doing the caching mechanism, the data will store inside database. Let me rerun this application on service. Yeah, now it started. Now what I'm doing, instead of 51 I am passing 52 fund ID. Send the request. Now one more time. Now it's 14 milliseconds. That means it's coming from cache. So go to here. I just check now. If I'll check in which database I am present now, then we can do info key space. Okay. Now I am okay. Now db0, see db0 has 6 key and db1 has only 1 key. Let's check. Go to select 0, go to database 0. Okay, now put key star. Now 52 is not available. So just now I sent the request to 52. Okay, and this record came, but 52 is not available here. If I'll switch from database 0 to database 1, select 1. Now this is database 1. Now do keys star. Now fund 52 has came. So this is how the data is storing. But this is key, right? How I can see this value? Write the command like get and inside double quote pass this one fund double colon 52, enter. Now you can see the record. So this is how Spring Data Redis is working. In last video I have explained this one, expire time, right? This is nothing but TTL, time to live. So when it will refresh, like every 20 seconds our caching is refreshing. So here how to implement the TTL. TTL is nothing but time to live. So how much time a key will store inside database. For now, let's say in CLI, if I do key star here, there is empty array. That means no cache is available inside here. I'm deleting all this key. Okay, now what I can do, I'll implement the TTL here. Dot entry TTL, and we can mention the time. So duration is, let's say I am mentioning for 30 seconds only of seconds, let's say 30 seconds. Then restart the application. Yeah, now it restarted. Now send the request, that's 52. Now I'm sending the request 53. Now if we'll go here in CLI, just press key star, enter. Now 2 record is there. Let's wait for 30 seconds whether this key is present or not. Yeah, now we can check whether this key star is available or not. Yeah, now it's empty array. That means after 30 seconds our cache is clearing. So this is how TTL is working. Now one thing, here I am mentioning the serialization, but here I have hardcoded the class name fun.class. Suppose user class is there, then how it will work? So it will not work, right? So we need to mention a generic one. So instead of new Jackson to JSON deserializer, we can mention new generic Jackson to JSON Redis serializer. Yeah, that's it. This one also it will work. Now we can see the data in here. Suppose I'll go to the select 0 and I'll press keys and star. So this is the data is available. If I want to view the fun 51, then what we can do, get inside double quote fun double colon 51, enter. Now I can see the data. But how I can see this data? Through the programmatically. So here we can write one method to view the data. Here create one method, Redis template. This is string and this is fund. Now this is Redis template. Now in this method I'll create the object of Redis template, new Redis template, and it will return the Redis template object. Now this is string and this is fund. After creating the Redis template object, I need to set the factory as well. So I'll pass the Redis connection factory here. Redis connection factory, it's a factory, and here I can set the Redis template dot set connection factory, and I'll pass the connection factory object, this connection factory. Now what we can do, after getting the object, what I'll do, first I'll convert the string or JSON format to object, right? So we'll use the Jackson serialization. So I'll use new generic Jackson to JSON deserializer, and it will return a generic serializer. Okay, now in this serializer I'll add this serializer to the template. So Redis template dot set value serializer, and I'll pass this serializer. Now I'll set the key serializer also. So this Redis template dot key set key serializer, and instead of serializer here we'll pass the Redis template dot get string serializer. Now I'll return the Redis template. Okay, make it as @bin. Now in controller class I'll create one endpoint. So this is endpoint get all fund. Then here get all fund. So instead of this one, I'll read the data from Redis template. So here mention Redis template of string. This is fund. Okay, Redis template, make it as @auto-expiry. Now this Redis template dot get keys. So first I'll get all the keys, not this method. We have a method to fetch the key. So Redis template dot, yeah, this one keys, and we need to pass the generic pattern. So this one keys fund :* so it will return all the keys. Okay, now I'll read one by one. If key is not equal to null, then I'll read one by one the key, then I'll fetch the data. So key string key keys. Now what I'll do here, Redis template dot, we have method called value. For value. So in this method we need to pass the key. So dot get of key, not keys, this is key. Okay, it will return the fund object. Now I'll add this one to a list. So create one list of fund list equal to new array list. Now I'll add this fund to the list, fund list dot add of fund. Okay, then return fund list. Okay, instead of cache, this is list of fund. Let's restart the application. So before sending the request, let's create one more endpoint here. So this is get all fund from Redis. Now instead of get fund, this is the endpoint. Here if I'll send the request, it will giving empty array. Now I'll store some data, 53, 52. If I'll go in terminal, keys star 2 record is there. So let's check by calling this API. Yeah, now I get 2 record here. So in this way we can fetch the record from Redis. So in this way we can implement the Redis cache, and in my previous video I have already explained the simple cache how we are implementing. Please watch out my all the videos in the microservices playlist, and if you have like my videos, please share and subscribe my channel. Thank you everyone.